are Wayne Leach, Gary Smart, and Phil Merlotti, and they're going to talk to you about the Remonstrance. You remember seeing, if you looked on the website, you got a lot of information about that. If you want to know what it is, these guys are the ones that drew it up and know what it, and can explain it to you better than anybody. First, there's Wayne Leach. Come together. Yeah. You come as a pack.
Where does Gary go? Way here, if we get shot, we could all do it at once. Good afternoon. I'd like to thank Amy and anybody else who got this together. Okay. Don't put it in my mouth. Okay, good enough. Okay, one thing before we leave today, I want you to think about one thing. Never, never let these people here take a liberty and change it into a privilege, and then license it, and then attach a fee to it. One thing that I dislike is preaching to the choir, but the one thing I dislike the most is being part of that choir. Being part of the choir means you have to work. You have to give up your time, you have to give up and exert energy, maybe spend some money getting there. Why even get involved when there's so many other things that you could be doing? So what makes us get involved when there is always something better to do, or maybe someone else will do it if you don't want to do it? Why do something that nobody else wants to do? Why spend your own money when somebody else can do it or afford it? Why spend your time and energy when you could be relaxing or enjoying yourself in an endeavor that makes you happy? Why take the time to travel to an event like this when you could be home doing your own thing or at work making money? Why be involved with any movement or activity that distracts you from enjoying life? Motivation, doing something that is righteous, that's the key. The psychological factor that arouses a person to action towards a desired goal, the reason for the action that we give, its purpose and direction to a behavior. No one does anything unless they are willing to. You're here today because you want to. Ask yourself why you're here today. What is your motivation? I'm here today because I believe that we are all here led to combine our energies and to pick ourselves up and move onward with a new direction that will work this time. Politics is dead. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Politics is dead. The majority of the elected officials and legislators are not doing their job, and they defy the Maine and U.S. constitutions. Most of them are led by their party leaders, none of which understand what the founders wanted to do for us. The evil has infiltrated into our sacred halls of government and our court systems, and those at home do not see that. The same founders that created the U.S. Constitution had helped to create our Maine Constitution. Our Maine Constitution was written in 1820. The founders had 23 years to witness, compare, and add language to the Maine Constitution as to what was needed to make a more perfect document. If you have studied and compared our two constitutions, you know what I mean. The founders of our Maine Constitution knew that human nature allowed for some elected and appointed officials to take advantage of the people that they serve, to remedy common or unforeseen mistakes and willful criminal action. Article 1, Section 15 was written. Listen closely. The people have a right at all times in an orderly and peaceful manner to assemble upon the common good, to give instructions, not to beg, not to suggest, but to give instructions. This is in your Maine Constitution. Of either department of the government by petition, remonstrance, or redress of their wrongs and grievances. Folks, let me tell you, the remonstrance is the strongest thing that we can get behind. Section 15 was placed in the Maine Constitution to protect us from corrupt governments. Do we have a corrupt government? It is time that we, the people of Maine, realize that we have been subdued and controlled to act submissively. Will you continue to be controlled and fooled, or are you ready to use your God-given and unalienable right to stop them from having dominance over us? We've got several people standing up here, and I'd like to introduce them as they speak. And then after this is over, you may ask any questions at all. But I'll tell you, I counted the crowd here today, and there's over 60 of you. And we've only got roughly 10 people who signed that signature list. We need all your names. If you haven't already done this on the website, please walk over to that table over there, put your name on it, get behind us, because one of these days we're going to ask you to support us and to support you and hit that place with a remonstrance. Who's next? Wayne Leach, next. Our next president.
Amy said I was first, but I'm not, so I'm here now. I am Wayne Leach. I live up in Winslow, but I'm a real Downeaster, born in Ellsworth. Lived and worked throughout Maine all my life. I'm honored to speak to you today. It's a privilege, but I feel I have to. It's a land of the free, or it was. We're going to try to correct that so it still is. The greatest nation on the planet. I know I have failed in my responsibility in the past. That's why I'm here today, trying to correct some of my errors as a naive, fun-seeking teenager and a hell-raising young adult who gave little or no thought to preserving the freedom I was enjoying. I have been trying for several decades now to make up for those mistakes. I want you to join me. How much better could this day be? It's beautiful out here. How many think it could be better? I want to ask you this. How many are here for restoring a lawful government for our state of Maine? Okay, how many are here for the fun of it? A social get-together? Nobody. We're all here for business, I guess. Well, it's still a somewhat free country, so if you are here for a good time, I respect your right to do that. And thank you for coming. However, if we do not unite to protect our inherent rights by using the constitutions, it soon will not be free. Many of the people under that huge dome across the street are responsible for what is happening here in Maine. They do not abide by their oath of office. Why? Because we, the people, have allowed it. We've refused to be diligent. We've been enjoying the land of the free but neglected our duty, our responsibility. To preserve it, we must demand that those who represent us abide by their oath of office, stop micromanaging people's lives with a barrage of feel-good laws that insult the intelligence of those whom they represent and make criminals out of law-abiding citizens or people. If someone would like the word citizen. I am a citizen of the state of Maine. A citizen has a right to keep and bear arms, and this right shall never be questioned. I missed a page here somewhere. Can the ordinary working man or woman read and understand these words? Quote, every citizen has a right to keep and bear arms, and this right shall never be questioned. Did any of you hear any ifs or buts in there? No. Never is not a four-letter word. It means never shall be questioned. Neither is it a complicated one. There was no mention of except when your elected officials don't want to. Are they truly representing us if they disobey? No, actually perjure their oaths of office. To do that makes them the domestic enemy, not you. You are merely exercising your inherent rights to life, liberty, and property. If not, there are already laws against harming others, and the justice system was designed and created to deal with those crimes. It was that purpose, not for micromanaging our lives and making criminals and taking you to court every other day. I love our state and nation. I feel that we must do better. We must be better guardians of our freedom, for old fogies like me, for the young, and for those yet to be born. To do so, we need more than just you dedicated people who took time to attend this function. We need to continue educating our friends, fellow workers, neighbors, and especially those elected appointed officials across the street. They are not and have not been abiding by their oaths of office to support the constitutions for the United States and the state of Maine. That is why our small group has presented to the governor and Maine legislature a constitutionally authorized remonstrance, or remonstrance if you prefer that pronunciation, for a redress of grievances. We have also created a second one to address the inherent right to defend life and property. It's called the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution as well. There are copies of a summary of the first one and full copies of the one about the Second Amendment issue available at the remonstrance table over there. There are sign-up sheets for both. The first was served on Governor LePage, Senate President Alford, and House Speaker Eves on January 14th of this year. A response was demanded within 10 business days, but there was none from any of the three branches of our government, although this is a constitutional process. Until we held a press conference in the Hall of Flags on January 30th, after the demanded response time had expired, the governor did respond after that press release, rather emphatically. Right, Bill? His staff had not even made him aware of the remonstrance prior to the press release. But since then, we have been communicating with the governor frequently about many issues. The failure of the legislative leaders to respond is being dealt with lawfully, which takes a considerable amount of preparation and time. Believe me, I feel quite certain we will be hearing from them in the near future. In the meantime, I urge you to show your support for the remonstrance by signing either a paper copy available here today or electronically at the website, mainerepublic.com. If you have signed previously, we want to thank you, but ask that you please do not sign again. The reasons for garnering support is evident. A show of strength will determine how we can reclaim our limited and lawful government, one that does its job of protecting the people's inherent rights. Notice, I did not say constitutional rights, for that piece of paper, strong as it is, does not grant your rights, but was drafted to guarantee them. Just as important is the fact that it cannot, has not, and will not protect itself. That is up to the people. And wow, have we been a failure for much too long. So please stay involved and diligent and urge others to do so. We must never let our guard down again. And I believe it is crucial that we go on the offensive while maintaining a good defense against the criminals who have reduced our freedom so dramatically. With God's help and guidance, we cannot fail in this mission. Thank you for your attention and for allowing me to speak to you. God bless America and the great state of Maine.
The next person, I do not have to tell you who he is. If you don't know Gary by now, something's wrong. Gary Smart.
Well, listen up, and please understand. Our government is in a state of emergency. Our nation is bankrupt, financially and morally. Our government does not operate by the Constitution of the people. Our constitutional law is not recognized in the courts. Our government fails to operate by the mandate of freedom and liberty of the people. We, the people of Maine, are the authority over this Constitution of this government. The Constitution of Maine was established as a law of Maine that organized the government system. Maine was organized as a free and independent state under the authority of the people. The preamble sets the stage of the Constitution of Maine, which we, the people of Maine, established the Constitution. It's we, the people of Maine, under the grace of God, and I'm going to shorten it in my nutshell, we, the people of Maine, under the grace of God, established this free and independent state, styled as the state of Maine, and ordained this Constitution of the same. The government is here organized to protect our Declaration of Rights, which is the first section of this Constitution. It takes some study to know what our rights are to be protected by the government. It's not given our rights, we have our rights. The Article of Declaration of Rights defines the rights of the people that is protected by the government of the state of Maine. There are many important articles that are understood by the people and members of the government system to establish the justice, ensure tranquility, provide for our mutual defense, promote our common welfare, and secure to ourselves and our posterity the blessings of liberty. The first law identifies the natural unalienable rights of the citizens, including our rights to property. Section 1, natural rights. All people are born equal, free, and independent, have certain natural, inherent, and unalienable rights, among which are those of enjoying, defending life and liberty, and acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety and happiness. The authority of our government of Maine is identified in the second law, that we, the people of Maine, have overriding authority over Maine government system and hold the rights to give instruction to our government and personnel, or even alter, reform, or abolish the government if our safety and happiness dictates. Article 1, Section 2, power inherent in the people is all power is inherent in the people. All free governments are founded in our authority. It says there, but it's our authority. And instituted for our benefit. It says theirs, but this is our government. They have therefore an unalienable and indefeasible right to institute government and to alter, reform, and totally change the same when our safety and happiness require it. All government personnel is bound to swear an oath to protect our Article 1 Declaration of Rights. Section 1, oath and subscriptions. Every person elected or appointed to either of the places of offices provided in this Constitution, and every person elected, appointed, and commissioned to any judicial, executive, military, or other offices under this state shall, before entering on the discharge of their duties of the place or office, subscribe the following oath. I do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Maine, so long as I shall continue a citizen therefore. So help me God. When any member of our government violates our rights, the Constitution of the state of Maine dictates the authority and procedures of governance that is authorized by the people in the free and independent state of Maine. All government officials and personnel swear an oath to abide by this Constitution, and when government personnel fail to operate by dictates of the Constitution, is the remedy defined in Maine Constitution Article 1, Section 15, to present the wrongs and grievances and demand a compliance of the laws, rules, and regulations described in the Constitution that we, the people of Maine, ordained and established upon the creation of the government system in Maine. Maine Constitution Article 1, Section 15, the right of petition. The people have a right at all times in an orderly and peaceful manner to assemble, to consult upon common good, to give instruction to their representatives, and to request of either department of the governance by petition or remonstrance, a redress of their wrongs and grievances. And then we look at the word remonstrance. This is the power. They hung kings on remonstrances. The Declaration of Independence is a remonstrance. Madison had a remonstrance against the government for trying to legislate religion. 1828 Webster Dictionary defines remonstrance as strong representation of reason against a measure, either public or private, and when addressed to a public body, prince, or magistrate, it may be accompanied with a petition or supplication for the removal or prevention of some evil or inconvenience. A party aggrieved presents a remonstrance to the legislature. We, the people of Maine, must devise a plan idea concentrated to this remonstrance to bring our government back into constitutional compliance that all government personnel swear their oath to. Please help with the remonstrance, and what we'd like to see is tens of thousands of people remonstrancing on this building when we meet with a joint house session and demand that they follow the law of the Maine Constitution that is ordained by we the people. Thank you. Any questions? How does George Soros feel? You answer.
I have a question for you. How many of you have been